Most of the time I use my phone for all my cover design and writing on everything.
So you don't even have a computer to do this on. You're doing it on an iPad and on a friggin' phone. I'm on a mission to help struggling authors in a deeper way than ever before in a series I like to call Book Rescue, sponsored by Fiverr. Today, I'm working with a young gentleman named Robert G. Culp, who, as you heard it, does all of his work, including book cover design and writing, on an iPhone 6S. What excuses are left? He's getting it done with a mobile phone and by any means necessary, and that really resonated with me, and hopefully it does for you as well. So we're gonna give him a little bit of a leg up and get him pointed in the right direction so he can start to realize more success. But why Robert? Well, there's more to his story than you know.
I applied to my dream school, LSU in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Basically, I wanted to go in there, into the Rhetoric Writing program because my dream, is eventually to open up my own publishing house, where I take in authors, and definitely help them get there. But right now, tuition costs, it's just so expensive, especially now during the pandemic and everything else. I've had to put off, and I would just love to be able to make, some money where I could help support, pay for my tuition in some way, and also help, get my dog, because we just found out that he had bone cancer, his entire, paw.
Robert G. Culp is a 28-year-old young adult fantasy author, and he's been doing this for a little bit over a year right now, with about 4 full-length novels, as well as his short story and a few other novels in production.
As a writer, that's what I want to do, because I love being my own boss. I love doing my own schedule, and I love just writing. It's what I'm great at. It's what I can do. It's one of the best things I can do, and it's definitely what I would love to make a living and definitely be known for.
And to be clear, this is the only work that Robert does. He relies on this to hopefully put a little bit of food on his table. If you started making, say, $1,000 per month, what would that do for you?
Oh man, that would change my life. With that much, I could definitely afford financial aid for my college. I could afford definitely to get my dog treated. I could even fix some stuff around my mom's house, help her, and I could even invest, back in my business or some proof copies for my book. I could advertise more. It would change definitely a lot of things.
What does this mean to be on Book Rescue? Now, we're not promising anything lavish. We're not going to say he's going to be making X amount of dollars within a certain period of time. All we're doing is course correcting what he currently has and getting it to where he's on the right track and he's headed to more prosperous lands. But what will he get? Well, there's going to be some surprises in store, and if you stick around to the very end, you actually see what today's surprise is, and each and every single episode we'll be dropping a little bit of something to him. Okay, so I'm going to be brutal with you here, Robert, and this is how it's going to work, especially since you and I are going to be working together with each other. Oh, not just once, not just twice. We're going to be ongoing for a while. The very first thing is we got to fix that picture.
Okay.
The picture is not flattering of you. In fact, you've got a better picture right now through your video camera. Yeah. So we got to get something that is going to be very professional. I'll work with you in getting that done. All right, your covers. You've got a good idea and a firm grasp on your niche, but one of the things I feel like it's missing the mark typographically speaking. Now, I love the fact that you kept the branding right on point, so I still want to honor the branding. We're going to get a hold of an expert that's going to be able to do the book cover design and get it to where you can actually pitch some of the elements to them, and then they will go through and make it even better. So a big kudos to you. First of all, you have a hardcover on here. Not too many other authors, including the guy you're speaking to, has hardcovers on their product listing. Looking at the ad copy, though, we got to dress this up somehow or another. It's good fundamentally, but you're telling a story here. We need to create more intrigue. Now, beautiful part is I actually have Brian Meeks on speed dial, and he's going to sit down, do a full consultation for the two of us here. We are going to have him create a template for us. Love the fact that you've got it loaded up with editorial reviews. That's wonderful. You took advantage of readers' favorite. Nice. Yep. That free review, not so many people take advantage of that. So what did we do to fix the issues? We worked tirelessly for 3 weeks. And there was a lot of back and forth that we really had to hash some things out, make sure the two of us were on the same page. And due to some tech limitations, being that he can only use an iPhone, and it's not like a library is going to allow him to start doing video chats with me. So it took a little longer than expected. Not to mention, he's writing more books, short stories, and also gathering reviews for his current crop of books. So let's take a look at a before and after of his keywords and categories that we worked so hard together on. When we got to work, we used Publisher Rocket. However, it wasn't as simple as me buying a license to Rocket and giving it to him, because remember, he's using an iPhone, and sadly, Publisher Rocket isn't supported on mobile phones, and no less, libraries are a little bit fickle when it comes to putting software onto their devices without their permission. If you take a look at the screen right now, you could see the keywords that he had originally, things like fairies, Stonehenge, boarding school witch, knights in boarding school, mentally ill hero, modern day King Arthur, and dragons. Now, why is this a problem? Well, it's not so much a problem for him, but for discoverability purposes, because he was way too broad. And being a new author, you're going to need to be very specific about what it is that you're writing and the audience that you want to reach. Because with things like dragons or fairies, there are books that are already deeply entrenched in those niches, and those keywords are more relevant to those, whereas a new author doesn't really have much of a fighting chance. So he was too broad and just not granular enough. And the other thing that I noticed was product relevancy is all predicated on the type of keywords you use based on what type it is. So for instance, any keywords you're going to use for your ebook, you should not use that for your print book. Those need to be completely different. Relevancy changes from one product type to the next. In his defense, he was publishing strictly through Drafted Digital, loved the platform, but one of the areas I felt like it was a missed opportunity was uploading directly to Kindle Direct Publishing, so that way he had a little bit more control on his metadata. So here's the after picture of things, and you can see we went real granular. We have fairies and faries. That was a funny misspelling that actually worked out in our favor. Dragons, mages, and witches. Witch out of water, time travel, dragon necklaces, young adult urban fantasy. So you could see there's these longer tail keywords that we're putting in here because we're drilling further down deep. Now, originally, he was just sticking to the 3 categories that he was allowed to. So we, of course, went in and got him 10 total categories for his ebooks and for his print books. Now, those are completely separate, 10 for each. Was it required that we put it into 10 categories? Not really, but we made sure the 10 that we selected were completely relevant to his titles. So now that we got the keywords and categories all dialed in, let's give him a surprise. I also have a little surprise for you today, because you hustled your face off. You've done such great work. And I wanted to kind of share this with you. So we've got the keywords here, but now you've got yourself a professional author biography. It actually starts out with one of your favorite quotes, and it goes in here. We've got this long version, and you ready for this? You've got a short version too. So this is probably going to be something you're going to end up putting on your Amazon Author Central profile. Now, if there's some little tiny tweaks that you need to make in there, go for it. That's totally fine. But this will go over there, and I would say, if you end up getting a website, this is where you're going to use that long form author biography. So it's a little bit deeper here. We ended up getting a Fiverr service through a gentleman named Russ Berg. Russ has done an author biography for me in the past, and I was like, you know what? I need to kind of get you dialed in.
Oh, it's awesome.
When I met Robert, I discovered that though he was struggling as an indie author, it wasn't breaking his mindset. He had the spirit that just honestly is just undying. It seemed like nothing is going to hold this young man back, and that really resonates so much with me, and I hope it does for you as well. You had your hands full, man. There was a lot of just real, like a stress test for you at any point.
Definitely.
What do you think was the hardest part of doing this whole part?
Oh gosh, it was definitely trying to juggle time. I've been working on a short story, and also I've been trying to do the 4th book in that, and it's just been juggling time, also taking care of my dog. Because even when I had like the week off last week, we weren't having to work or anything a lot. spend most of it staying up to like almost every night till 3:30 in the morning, having to take care of him.
Now, Robert's a little bit more on track because we got his keywords and categories all dialed in for his current publications, making his books more discoverable from wherever they are publishing. And here's the really cool thing. Robert is already seeing a small sales increase, so this means that we're headed in the right direction. But there's a few other things we're going to need to do here with Robert, and this is going to be working on his ad copy, aka his book description, so that way he can sell people his books. Because the book description, if it's not dialed in, you're going to lose your potential customers. And with that being said, we also want to make sure his book covers are done by professional book cover designers. Join us for this journey over the coming months here on Book Rescue and find out what all we have in store for Robert. I'm Dale R. Roberts, and this has been the first episode of Book Rescue, sponsored by Fiverr.
When you're on Facebook, and most people are on some form of social media, try to use stylistically this type of copyright. If you read my posts of just me living life on Facebook, they look like this description.